Right, we have looked at how to set up a course in Manager. We have looked at how to save our new vocabulary lists, our word lists in Reference. And of course, we've looked at study notes and how to save units. So let's go back to some work that we were working on. I'm going to go to my folder. Now, remember, it's very important to work on new units in your own personal folder because we don't want those to be live on the course until they're 100% perfect and have been checked, of course. So let's go here. Now, if I click on this card, I'll only see a student's version of it, a student's view of it. So let's go to Edit here. I'm going to click Edit. And of course, we had simple questions for are, is, and am. Is an explanation there. There's a sample dialogue that we've seen before. The key lexis, well, the key grammatical target language here is highlighted in bold. There's a picture explaining it. And of course, we have a word list here. Now, we have already added all these words. So let's explain vocabulary exercises in courses. So we need, for standard vocabulary exercises, 4 types of exercises. First, we need an intro exercise. This is basically an electronic version of you boarding the word on a blackboard, whiteboard. I always use the slideshow. Why? Because it gives a nice picture. You have the text over the picture with buttons to listen to it in British and American pronunciation. You can add a text explanation. I usually put a definition and a sentence, an example sentence. So you can explain it very quickly that way. Now, also students need to explore the words, and particularly when we do word lists where a lot of the words are very similar synonyms, usually, of course, not direct synonyms, but indirect ones or quite similar. They need to explore that word list. So you can put together a quiz, and then, of course, they can click on A, B, C. C is wrong, so they click on A. A is wrong, and so they click on B. And that way, they're exploring what the answers are. And, of course, they can take notes down, etc. Now, once they've got that basic knowledge, how does the word sound? How is it spelled? What is it used for? We need to reinforce that knowledge. Now, it's very, very important that you always use the vocabulary exercise type. Now, the vocabulary exercise type is special. It adds that word list to the system so that your students taking your course are automatically tested on all of that vocabulary in terms of vowel changes, syllable stress, spelling, conjugation, etc. So very important to include that. Now, when you're thinking about reinforcement, I would also tend to use something like an audio exercise. So you can record the word in a sentence in context and then get your students to listen to you and then record themselves and try and match you. So they're working on repeating the word continuously. It's also dictation. And they're also working on pronunciation there, which 3 very important areas. And then I usually end with a practice exercise. I mean, we've been working here mostly on passive knowledge of the word. What is it? How does it spell? What does it mean? What does it do? Etc. So once you've got all of that under your belt, you want to be able to use it actively in a situation. So there you can use a gap fill. Now remember, gap fills can be graded. So you can show all of the answers, or you can show just the first letter of each word, etc. So you grade that the way you want in terms of level of difficulty. Now, I would also include an error correction, because if you think about it, the error correction exercise, you can add in a sentence and misspell that word. Or you could add in a sentence and put in a wrong synonym for that word, where that word should really be in the sentence, but you use a similar word that is completely wrong. Now, that is quite more challenging. That is much more sort of active knowledge, really understanding the word to be able to correct it in that sentence. And also, I would also include the written answer exercise, because there you could do a prompt in which they have to think of the answer. Let's take a simple example. So, what do you sit on in class? And of course, the answer could be chair or seat. It's unlikely to be bench. And remember, with this exercise type, you can program exactly the answers that you want. So now let's actually go to slideshow and do a slideshow. So I'm going to click on edit, so I can actually add content. Now, by clicking on edit, you are basically opening the program so that you can add assets to it. Now, those assets might be text, those assets might be images, those assets might be links, such as for the video, or those assets might be links in terms of all of the exercise types. So always remember, once you've done everything, you made your changes, etc., even though there is some automatic updating going, always, always, always click on save. Okay? Right, so let's go to slideshow. I'll just go up here. Now, quick search means you can search the different exercises here, because of course, if we're working all together, we could have thousands of exercises in this list. So what we want to do is create a slideshow. So we're going to create one here. We're going to call it, for now, temporarily, Unit 6 is questions, just for me to remember it. It's very important to give your exercises memorable titles so that you can search for them in the quick search. Now, image, I'm not going to do that, because what I want to do is I want to load all the data from reference. Remember, we spent a long time putting all of those words in and checking them all. So now is the fun bit. So one of the words was okay. So let's search that category. And Unit 6 appears. Select. These are all selected. If you don't select it, if it's left like this, it won't be added. So we're going to select all of those now, and we're going to add slides. Now here you have to, of course, wait for the computer to load all the data. It doesn't look like this. This is just a summary of all the images. And of course, we can now add the exercise to this part of the course. So actually, I should use my system and just put 6. It should just work. There we go. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, now, I always do this in terms of, I don't bother with the title until we've finished the entire unit in terms of all of its exercises, and then I tidy it up so it's very professional. But I do this in terms of adding it to check the data. It's very important for us to check. So I like the image. I'm going to reduce that slightly so I can look at the data more. Phrase similar to yes, positive, or look, there's a problem here. Can you see that? Right, that's not good enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove that. I'm going to go back to slideshow. Here we got it there. So I'm going to edit and click edit here. Yes, see, look, there's a little HTML tag that has been added there by mistake. That's fine, we can do it like that. I'm going to save that. And of course, I will probably have to now check all of this data and edit each one. But let's just look at whether that is better, as in it's all been saved. And yes, it has. So we're now fine. So, right. So let's leave that. I'm not going to, of course, edit all of them, but we can go to the next exercise type. So now we want to do a quiz. So let's do a quiz. So let's go back up here again. we click on quiz, of course. Now, this is slightly different from slideshow. You might be tempted to immediately create quiz, but this is the manual button. If you create quiz, you'll have to put in a question, for example, and then answer A, B, C, D. It will take time. Much better to, again, put in our word. We got it in Unit 6. Select. We want all of these words, just like before. Select Create Quiz. And now we can actually read it, you see? I just want to make sure that the answers here are logical. So you have to always scroll down. So diseases like AIDS are actually that infect the body. Viruses. Now, if this is ticked like this means that's the answer. If it's not ticked, it means it's incorrect. Now, with the quiz exercise, you can only have one correct answer. You can't have multiple correct answers. We don't have that at the moment. Now, you don't have to worry. This blank here is automatically added to the system. So that's perfect. I'm not even going to save that. I'm going to, however, call it Unit 6 is questions. And then I go here, quick search. There we go. Use that. And we've got the quiz. Okay. Now, as you can see, I've used the same title here. This is a temporary title. We can edit the titles through the edit button here. So I can change the titles there. And in fact, I think I'm actually going to do that. So I'm going to do Unit 6 is, and I'm going to just call it vocab. No, slideshow. And then that's automatically updated. And then this one here, I'm going to call this quiz. So just that I know which exercise types I have here. Now, remember, we had the intro exercise. We've done that. Checked. We have the one for exploring. So we've done that. The quiz, that's checked. Now it's time to have a reinforcement exercise. Remember, you must always use vocabulary. If not, you're missing out there because the vocabulary will not be reinforced, and so students are much, much more likely to actually forget it. So let's do that one. So again, we go back to the top here and click vocabulary. Now here you cannot create a manual vocabulary exercise. Why? Because that would mean you could add words that are not in reference, that have not been data checked. So we can only use words in reference. So what we do here, create vocabulary exercise. I'm again going to call it Unit 6 is, and this time I'm going to be a bit more intelligent and just call it vocab so I know what it is. And again, we can enter a word to search the word lists, general phrases. Right, Unit 6. And now here I need to click on all of these. These haven't been highlighted. I want all of those. Add. And now we have them added. Now, what's more, here, of course, we can remove them, but also we might want to change the order. So we might want to group them. For example, doctor, hospital, tired, feel, know. They don't really go together. So I could move maybe feel up and know. I could move up. So tired, doctor, hospital, better, they all sort of work together. So you can control the order there. Right, again, we go back here. We're just going to do quick search, 6, unit 6, click use. And there you go, we got the vocabulary. So let's go on to the final one, which is gap fill. Now, in another video, I will talk about how to use audio exercises. And in another video, I will also talk about error correction and written answer exercises. But for now, let's just stick to the 4 primary vocabulary exercises. So the next one is gap fill. So again, let's go up, click on gap fill. And again, we don't want to click on the button create gap fill because then that's manual. So therefore you'll have to put the sentence in, you'll literally have to put a gap in manually through text, and then you'll have to put the answers. So actually, no, not the answer, just put it in and you just click. But we can again use the data we have. So let's put in OK. Right, we've got unit 6 again, select. Now, there's a difference between sentence and form. For some lessons, you might want to do a gap fill where you're literally just working on conjugation. So, go, goes, went. In that case, you click form. Most of the time, just leave it for sentence. Check that all the words you want to include in this gap fill. You may want to split the words. So, for example, all the hospital, doctor related words you do as one gap fill, and all the other words you do as a second gap fill. It's up to you. But anyway, create gap fill, of course. Now here we can put the title in. So again, we can call it Unit 6, R, is, and I call it gap fill. Now, if you want to show all of the answers, you click this and you see all the answers there. If you want to individually show the first letter, because you see, dude, yes, you can do that. You click here. Yes, you can do that. So, okay. And very importantly as well, if you want the computer to speak and give pronunciation for this sentence, I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but it really does help, then you click this. And then, of course, they can listen to the full sentence or question. And also, if you want to edit what the computer has done, in fact, you don't like the sentence, you can edit it here. So, for example, I'm going to say, yes, I think that is okay. Now, for a gap fill, be very careful. If you gap the word okay, then it's going to include the full stop. So I would put a space. So we save that. Now, here you can see there are no gaps because this is what the student would see. So we want to click, and now we got it. Yes, I think that is okay. Now remember, this is an awful example because how could the student guess what the word is from this very limited context? You need to write probably longer sentences, sentences that are maybe 2 sentences, 1 sentence giving extra information, but it has to have the context for the student to guess. I mean, I can do that. I think that is open. I think that is, it could be various things still. Okay. Now, of course, if you add the show answers at the top, then of course it makes it a lot easier. But this is all your decision. Okay, let's go back. Let's type in 6. Oh, it's there anyway. Click use. And now we have all of them. Okay, important now. Let's save. So we have saved all the exercises. Slideshow, quiz. I don't know whether I want a quiz there. I think I want to move the reinforcement vocabulary exercise up so I can use that, and now I can control the order. Right, for me that's fine. I like that. So let's have a look. We've got slideshow, vocabulary reinforcement. We have a little ABC quiz, really. Another quiz here with the full sentences, making it a little bit more difficult. And then, of course, we have the answers here, a model sentence with the keywords gapped out, and it speaks. Not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Brilliant. So we have now done all of this. We've introduced the vocabulary, we've allowed the students to explore it, we've added reinforcement, automated reinforcement, in fact, and we've also given them extra practice. And again, you could even do another gap fill with the same words with other sentences that you have manually written. Right. So I hope that helps you with writing vocabulary exercises. Thank you very much for listening.